Sometimes we take the result of one function and then put that result into a second function. For example, consider the functions f of x equals x squared and g of x equals 2x plus 5. If we first evaluated the function g of x, where x equals -1, and then we take that result and square it using the second function, f of x. So if we take g of -1, we plug that into our function 2x plus 5, we get 3. And then we want to take that result and we want to plug it into another function. So we take 3 and plug it into f of x, which says square it. So we take 3 squared and get 9. Okay, so we get 9. So we've evaluated one function and taken the result and put it into the next function. We can streamline this process and just create a new function, which we call f of g of x, which we get by putting g of x as the input into f of x, and we call this function composition. Okay, so we say that the function f is composed with g. And our input is x. Okay, so this little operator here indicates function composition. Okay, and all this means is that we take the input of one function and we take the output of one function and we put that in the input of another function. Okay, so it's basically a two-step process. Okay, this is really equal to, so we have f composed with g of x, and that's the same as saying I want f of g of x. Okay, so g of x is my input. I figure out what g of x is, and then I put it into f of x. So we're combining functions. So in this case, we can simplify this. We can come up with a new function, okay? Instead of evaluating g and then taking that and evaluating f, we can come up with what we call a composite function. So f of g of x for us is f of, our g of x is 2x plus 5, f of 2x plus 5. Okay, and then we can say, okay, well, my function f just says whatever I put into it, I square it. So I can rewrite this as my input is 2x plus 5, so I need to square my input. So 2x plus 5 squared, and I can multiply that out. That's 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 5, and I get a function 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. So that's my new function. My function, which is the composition of f and g, is 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. And if I want to evaluate that, if I want to know what that function is at x equals -1, when I plug -1 in there, I get 4 times -1 squared plus 20 times -1 plus 25. And when I evaluate that, I find out that I get, in fact, 9, which is the same answer I got when I evaluated them separately. Okay, so function composition is a way for us to come up with a new function, okay, made up of two different functions.